Hello, can you hear me? Okay, and the screen is it visible? Screen? Okay, now okay, we'll start the lecture. Okay, we have completed yesterday the Meniere's disease, and that was the last topic of diseases of the ear, from the disease of the ear. Okay, now we'll start with the diseases of the nose. So first topic from diseases of nose is deviated nasal septum. It is a disease of nasal septum. What is nasal septum? Hello. What is nasal septum? क्या है nasal septum? Okay, the septum that is between the two nostrils, that is nasal septum. Okay, when it deviates to one or other side, then that condition is called as deviated nasal septum. Okay, it is frequently seen. Okay, uh, and it needs treatment only if it produces symptoms. If a patient shows symptoms, then only it needs treatment. We'll see the etiological factors now. The age group that is mostly affected, this condition usually starts at puberty. Okay, the deviation will start at puberty and it reaches to its full development by the age of 20 years of age. Okay, then sex, both the sexes are equally affected. Heredity may play a role, it may be hereditary. Okay, next cause is developmental cause. Okay, so the developmental cause is it should grow, the nasal septum should grow at same rate as that of the face. Okay, as the face grows, the nasal septum should grow at the same rate. Okay, if it grows at the rapid rate, it becomes buccal. Buccal means what? It collapses under the physical pressure. Okay, it becomes buccal to accommodate itself. That means septum grows at more rapid rate. When the septum grows at more rapid rate than that of the face, it becomes buckled to accommodate itself, and this is the commonest cause. You understood what is the developmental cause? ये समझ में आ गया developmental cause? How it becomes buckled. Okay, the nasal septum should grow same rate as that of the face. Okay, normally, but if the nasal septum grows at a rapid rate, then it becomes buccal to accommodate itself in the nasal cavity. Okay, that buccal means it collapses under the physical pressure. Okay, this is the commonest cause. The next cause is high arched palate. Okay, it is also a developmental anomaly. Mm, because of lack of descent of palate, again this nasal septum will become buccal. Lack of descent of palate will cause buckling of the cartilaginous part of the nasal septum. Is it okay? ये समझ ले का developmental cause? Any difficulty? Hello, is there any difficulty in both these causes? डेवलपमेंटल कॉज सबको समझ में आ गया? Okay, next one is congenital cause. Congenital cause, it includes abnormal intrauterine position. If the fetus is in abnormal position in the uterine life, then there will be a compression force that will act on a nose and upper jaw, and it will cause again a deviation of the septum. So abnormal intrauterine posture may cause compression force on nose or upper jaw. Okay. If the fetus is in abnormal posture in the intrauterine life, okay, then there will be a that nose, or there will be a compression on nose and upper jaw, and that's why there will be a deviation of nasal septum. Next cause is trauma. Again, if there is any accidental injury or any trauma, direct blow on the nasal septum, then it may also cause deviation. The next cause is secondary to any tumor or any mass polyp that is present in the nose. Deviation may be secondary to the mass, tumor or polyp in the nose. So, if a polyp or mass or any tumor that is present in one nostril, so the deviation will be on the other side. Okay, is there any difficulty in etiological factors? सबको समझ में आ गया? Okay, we'll move towards the types of DNS. The types of septal deformation. So first is deviation. They are smooth deflections, and deviations are, or smooth deflections are at the upper side or at the lower side, or it may be anteriorly or it may be on the posterior side. So first in pathology, the types are septal deformation will be, first one is deviations. It may be, there may be a smooth deflection or smooth deviation at the upper side or at the lower side of the nasal septum, or it may be on the anterior side or on the posterior side. Second type is spurs. Spurs are the isolated thickenings. Okay, spurs are isolated thickenings on the bony septum at the junction of bone and cartilage. These spurs may be short or long, and these are they predispose to epistaxis. And now, how the nasal septum is made up of? That means whether it is a bony or it is cartilaginous. Tell me. Only cartilaginous. In upper part there is bone, and in lower part there is cartilage. Okay, so it is made up of both bone as well as cartilage. Okay, so spurs are isolated thickenings on the bony septum. On bony septum, at the junction of bone and cartilage, there are isolated thickenings. The nasal septum becomes thickened at the junction of bone and cartilage. Okay, those are the spurs. They may be short or long, and they predispose to epistaxis. Okay, those thickenings, they are predisposed to epistaxis. Now, what is epistaxis? Bleeding. Okay, it is bleeding from the nose. So when there, okay, there if it get injured, then there may be bleeding. Okay. Next one is thickening. It may result from trauma leading to overriding of cartilaginous fragments which later on grow in double layer. Thickness may result from trauma. Okay, when there is any trauma to the nasal septum, any injury or any direct blow on the nasal septum, it will lead to overriding of the cartilaginous fragment. The cartilaginous fragments override on each other, and it, later on it will grow in double layers. That is called as thickening. Next one is dislocation. Dislocation will at the anterior edge of nasal septum. It may displaced on one side, and it will cause widening of the columella of nose. Or there may be displacement or at the lower edge of cartilage from maxillary crest and vomer due to trauma. Okay, dislocation, it may be at anterior edge of septal cartilage, and it may be displaced to one side. That is dislocation. Then the deviation may be C-shaped or S-shaped, and the nasal cavity of opposite side of deviation becomes roomy. Okay, the nasal cavity of opposite side may become roomy, and there will be compensatory hypertrophy of the turbinates on the roomy side. And the DNS will obstruct the drainage of paranasal sinuses on the same side, and there will be hypertrophic turbinates also obstruct the drainage of the paranasal sinuses. Okay, समझ में आया pathology or the types of deviation. Okay, once again I will repeat. There will be deviations. There may be smooth deflection. Okay, which is on upper side or on lower side, or it may be on anteriorly or on the posterior side of nasal septum. Then second one is spurs. These are the isolated thickenings. These are the thickenings at the junction of bone and cartilage. Okay, at the junction of bone and cartilage, there will be thickening of the cartilage, and it may that may thickening may be short or long, and it predisposed to epistaxis. Third one is thickening. Thickening will result from trauma or any injury to the cartilaginous part of the nasal septum, and the cartilaginous part will override on each other. Okay, and it will form a double layer. That is thickening. Next one is dislocation. There will be the anterior edge of septal cartilage may get displaced to one side, and that will cause widening of the columella of nose. Okay, that is dislocation. Okay, now the deviations may be C-shaped or S-shaped. The nasal cavity of opposite side of deviation becomes roomy as the deviation is C-shaped or it may be S-shaped. The nasal cavity of the opposite side will become roomy. That means it enlarges, and therefore there will be hypertrophy of turbinates on the roomy side. And the deviated septum will obstruct the drainage of the paranasal sinuses on the side of deviation, and drainage of sinuses on other side is hindered by hypertrophied turbinates. ओके समझ लेगा डेविएशन समझ लेगा deviations of C-shaped or S-shaped deviations. Okay, this is the normal septum. Okay, this is the septal spur formation. Spur is isolated thickening at the bony septum. Okay, at the junction of bone and cartilage. Then this is the C-shaped septum. This is septum. This one is the S-shaped septum, and this is the dislocated septum. Dislocation at the anterior edge. Okay, this is the deviated septum. So this one is the normal. This one is the septal spur formation, that is isolated thickening at junction of bony and cartilaginous part. This is C-shaped septum, S-shaped septum, and this one is the dislocated septum. Okay, is it clear now? Okay, you can see the figures, na? S-shaped and C-shaped deviations and normal septum. Okay, now look at the figure number one, that is deviated nasal septum. This one, okay. The red colored are those are the turbinates. Okay, turbinates are present on the lateral wall of nose on the both sides. Three turbinates, the inferior, superior, and middle turbinate. Three turbinate on each side of the lateral wall of nose. They are present. Okay. So when there is this is the C-shaped deviation. It deviates to this side on the left side. So this right side will become roomy or enlarge. It enlarges. So air will directly go into this side. Okay. So these turbinates will enlarge in size and they will block the nose. Okay. And because of this deviation, on the left side there will be blockage of the left nostril also because of deviation, and on right side because of hypertrophy of turbinate, uh, as the air directly passes through that nostril, there will be because of hypertrophy of turbinate, there will be blockage of nose on the right nostril also. So it blocks both the nostrils. So there will be blockage of there is problem in the drainage of paranasal sinuses. Okay. Okay. Now the symptoms of DNS. First one is asymptomatic. Patient may remain asymptomatic. He won't show any symptoms. So there will be no um, requirement of any treatment if patient is asymptomatic. Next one is next symptom is blocking of nose. It may be on both the sides. Blocking of nose, it is common on both the sides. As I have explained you, as there is deviation to one side, if the deviation is on left side, then the left side will be left nostril will be blocked because of deviation, and on the other side, the right side will become large, enlarged, or roomy. It becomes roomy, so it will directly expose to environment or to the air. So the turbinates that are present on the right side, they get hypertrophied, and it will block the right nostril also. So there will be blocking of nose, that is common on the both side. Next one is headache. The cause of headache is sinusitis. It may be because of obstruction of drainage. Sinusitis will because of obstruction of drainage. Okay, because there is blockage of both the nostrils, the drainage from the paranasal sinuses will be blocked. Next one is vacuum headache. The headache will first cause of headache is sinusitis. Next cause is vacuum headache. Vacuum headache is created in paranasal sinuses because of obstruction of drainage of sinus. As there is obstruction of drainage of sinuses because of blockage of nose, it will result in absorption of air by the mucosa of sinus. The mucosa that is present in the paranasal sinuses, it will absorb the air, and patient will have vacuum headache. The next one is neuralgic headache. When septum touches to the sensitive part of lateral wall of nose, patient may have neuralgic headache also. When the septum will touch to the sensitive part of the lateral wall of nose, as there is deviation, it will touch to the lateral wall of nose, and it will cause neuralgic headache. Is it okay? समजलं? Headache is one of the symptom of nasal DNS. Any difficulty? Hmm? हेडेक का कॉज समझ में आ गया क्या आप लोगों को? Why there will be headache because of sinusitis, or why there will be vacuum headache, or why there will be neuralgic headache? हम्म? समजले का सगळ्यांना? Okay. So, first symptom was blockage of nose, blocking of nose. Second was headache. Headache may be of because of sinusitis, or it may be because of vacuum headache or neuralgic headache. Next one is next symptom is recurrent cold. There will be recurrent cold, as there is obstruction of the nose. There will be stagnation of nasal secretions. The nasal secretion will get infected, and patient will have a recurrent rhinitis. Rhinitis means what is rhinitis? Seniors, what is rhinitis? You don't know what is rhinitis? Okay, when there is inflammation of nasal mucous membrane, patient will have recurrent cold and cough. That is rhinitis. Common cold. That is rhinitis. Okay. So patient will have recurrent cold, and this recurrent cold coryza is because of, again, because of obstruction. As there is obstruction because of nasal septum, and one nostril is obstructed by nasal septum deviation, and other nostril is obstructed by turbinates, hypertrophic turbinates. Uh, that obstruction will cause stagnation of the nasal secretions. Nasal secretions, they are stagnated in the nasal cavity only, and those nasal secretion will get infected and patient will have recurrent rhinitis or recurrent cold and coryza. Okay. Next one, patient will have epistaxis. Okay, epistaxis is bleeding from nose. The little area on the deviated side of the septum gets exposed directly to the atmosphere. Okay, little area on the deviated side of septum exposed directly to the atmosphere, and that will cause drying and crusting of the mucosa. And because of drying and crusting, uh, the person will try to pick the nose. He will try to remove the dried or crusted mucosa from the nose, and there will be epistaxis, that is bleeding. The next one is anosmia. Anosmia is, what is anosmia? Okay. It okay, it may be present in DNS, but it is rarely present. And there will be deformity you can see externally, uh, that may be present with DNS. Okay, deformity from the exterior of nose, external nose. Then signs uh, of the DNS. First one is external nose. It may look deformed. Externally also you can see that is nose is deformed. Then there will be the anterior rhinoscopy will reveal DNS, and it will reveal the type of deviation, which type of deviation is that, and secondary hypertrophy of turbinate uh, will be revealed with anterior rhinoscopy. And with the help of posterior rhinoscopy, that will there will be no deformity seen through the posterior rhinoscopy. Now, what is rhinoscopy? It is a what is rhinoscopy? It is an examination of a nasal cavity by a rhinoscope. It may be anterior rhinoscopy or posterior rhinoscopy. Okay, I will explain it in detail in next lecture about rhinoscopy. And again, I have to explain the anatomy of nose also. Do you remember the anatomy of nose? टर्बिनेट्स याद है क्या कुछ? टर्बिनेट्स और पता है? टर्बिनेट्स याद थे क्या? टर्बिनेट जैसा पार्ट है कुछ नोज में, ये पता था आप लोगों को कि नहीं? ओके, लेकिन एक बार पढ़ो, अभी तो मेरा लेक्चर डायरेक्टली इट विल बी ऑन थर्सडे, सो यू प्लीज गो थ्रू दी एनाटॉमी ऑफ नोज. ओके, वो तो सब इंटरनेट पे मिल जाएगा, एनाटॉमी ऑफ नोज, इसके लिए बुक्स की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है. ओके. The next one is complications of DNS. First complication is recurrent sinusitis. It is caused by obstruction to the drainage of sinuses. Okay, as there is obstruction to the drainage of paranasal sinuses because of DNS as well as hypertrophic turbinates, patient will have recurrent sinusitis. Then second one is patient will have middle ear infection, that is because of URTI. As patient is having upper respiratory tract infections again and again, patient will again will patient may have middle ear infections also. The next complication is mouth breathing. It will lead to recurrent infection of pharynx, larynx, or tracheobronchial tree. And last one is last complication is asthma. The DNS may act as a trigger for bronchospasm. Okay, it may DNS may act as a trigger factor for bronchospasm. Okay, so the asthmatic patient will have complications. माउथ ब्रीदिंग का समझ में आया? As there is blockage of nose is blocked, patient will have to breathe through mouth. Okay, as the patient breathes through mouth, it will lead to the infection may be caused because of that, because of mouth breathing, and patient will have infections of pharynx. Patient will have pharyngitis, laryngitis, or um, infection of tracheobronchial tree. Then there will be allergic rhinitis may be present on the roomy side of nose. Atrophic rhinitis, sorry. Atrophic rhinitis may be present on the roomy side of nose. These are the complications. Then the differential diagnosis. First one is hypertrophic turbinates. This hypertrophic turbinates may look like DNS. The mucosa is soft, and if you use the decongestant drops, they will shrink the hypertrophic turbinates. Okay, how will you differentiate between DNS and hypertrophic turbinate? The hypertrophic turbinates or DNS, they may look or appear like same. The mucosa is soft, and the differentiating point for hypertrophic turbinate and DNS is if you use decongestant drop, it will shrink the hypertrophic turbinate. Hypertrophic turbinate will shrink in size when you use the decongestant drops. Then second one is polyp. Polyp is a soft part. It is with pearly white appearance and it is insensitive to touch. So again, if you want to differentiate with polyp and hypertrophic turbinate, again you have to use, if you use the decongestant drop, the hypertrophic turbinate will shrink in size while the polyp won't shrink. The next condition is septal hematoma. It may follow the septal injury if patient will tell the history of any injury or any blow on the nose or nasal septum, and that injury will cause septal hematoma, and it will the appearance is watch glass like swelling will be present on the both the sides of nasal septum. Differential diagnosis समझ में आ गया? Any difficulty in differential diagnosis? How to differentiate DNS with all these condition? Okay. Next one is treatment. Treatment is required only if the patient is having persistent or recurrent symptom. If person is having recurrent cold coryza or epistaxis or other symptoms, uh, like blockage of nose and all, then patient will require treatment. Otherwise, if the patient is asymptomatic, then there is no need for treatment. The permanent relief is obtained by the surgical treatment, that is submucous resection, that is SMR operation of the cartilage, or septoplasty. SMR means submucous resection of the nasal septum. Okay, these are the two surgical treatment for permanent relief. You have to go for the treatment, that is surgical treatment, that is submucous resection of nasal septum, or second one is septoplasty. Okay, in short, I will tell you what is submucous resection of the cartilage. It is done under the general or local anesthesia. Okay, the incision on mucosa is about 2 to 3 millimeter behind the anterior edge of septal cartilage. जो सेप्टल कार्टिलेज का एंटीरियर एज है उसके एंटीरियर एज के जस्ट बिहाइंड अबाउट 2 to 3 millimeter इंसिजन लेना है. द म्यूको पेरिकॉन्ड्रियल फ्लैप इज इलेवेटेड with mucoperiosteum elevator. With the help of mucoperiosteum elevator, you have to elevate the mucoperichondrial flap. ओके, आवाज येतोय? Okay. Okay. You have to take an incision on mucosa about 2 to 3 millimeter behind the anterior edge of septal cartilage. Then the mucoperichondrial flap are elevated. Okay. The incision is deepened through the cartilage to other side. Okay. एकाच साईडला घ्यायचा incision just behind the anterior edge. Then the flap is elevated. Then the incision is deepened through the cartilage to other side. Then you have to go on the other side. Then other side's mucoperichondrium is also elevated, and the mucosal flaps are separated from the nasal skeleton. From the nasal skeleton, the mucosal flaps are separated and the cartilage is removed. Okay, you have to remove the cartilaginous part of nasal septum. Then afterwards, packing of nose is performed to the opposite to oppose the septal flaps and to prevent the bleeding. Then both the nostrils are packed with Vaseline ribbon gauze, which is lubricated with Vaseline to prevent the sticking to the nasal mucosa. समजलं का? What is SMR operation? कोणालाच नाही समजलं का? हेलो. ओके, इंसिजन तो समझ में आया है. ऑन वन साइड फ्रॉम द एंटीरियर एज तो पता है सब लोगों को. एंटीरियर एज पे कार्टिलेज है, उस पे जस्ट 2 to 3 millimeter behind the anterior edge of the septal cartilage you have to take an incision from one nostril. Okay, एका nostril मध्ये incision घ्यायचा just 2 to 3 millimeter behind the anterior edge of nose on the septum. Okay, and the mucosa that is present on the uh, nasal septum, that is called as mucoperichondrium. So you have to elevate that mucoperichondrial flap. म्युकोपेरी म्हणजे जो नेझल सेप्टम आहे कार्टिलेज मध्ये असतं आणि त्याच्यावरती काय असतं, म्युकोपेरिकॉन्ड्रियम. जो वरचा म्युकोस आहे दॅट इज कॉल्ड एज म्युकोपेरिकॉन्ड्रियम. So you have to elevate, you have to take an incision on the mucoperichondrium and you have to elevate that mucoperichondrium. Okay, from one side, from one side of the nostril. Then you have to go through that incision on the another nostril and other side's mucoperichondrium is also elevated. Then you can see the cartilage of the nasal septum. Then you have to remove that cartilage. Okay, you have to remove that cartilage, and then again after removing the cartilage you have to pack the both the sides of the mucoperichondrium. Cartilage just remove करना है आप लोगों को. And you have to oppose the both the sides of septal flaps. जो septal flaps और mucoperichondrium जो है वो you have to oppose it, and you have to pack the both the nostrils with the help of lubricated Vaseline ribbon gauze. गॉज से पैक करना है both the cavities, nasal cavities. अभी समझ में आया कि नहीं आया? थोड़ा बहुत. ओके, लेकिन अगर तुम लोगों को चाहिए हाउ दैट प्रोसेस इज कैरिड आउट, देन यू कैन गो थ्रू द वीडियोस दैट आर प्रेजेंट इन द नेट. इंटरनेट पे जो वीडियोस है सेप्टोप्लास्टी या फिर डीएनएस ऑपरेशंस का, तो वो देख सकते हो तुम लोग कैसे करते हैं. ओके, then you have to go for the post operative care, and the post operative care is you have to start with antibiotics and analgesics, then the nasal pack that is removed after 48 hours. Okay, जो nasal packing किया था वैसलिन रिबन गॉज से, that is removed after 48 hours after operative procedure. Hello. The nasal decongestant drops are used. Then you have to lubricate the nasal cavity with Vaseline or ointments, and rest is given for a week. And you have to avoid any injury to the nose for 3 weeks. And direct blow on the nose should be avoided. But there are some complications for this treatment, that is for SMR operation. That there may be hemorrhage, primary hemorrhage, or there may be damage to the surrounding structures, or patient may have CSF rhinorrhea, or there may be septal perforation, septum may get perforated. Okay, or there may be septal hematoma also, or septal abscess may form. All these complications are there for SMR operation. Okay. And another operative procedure is septoplasty. Okay, in next lecture I will tell you differentiation of SMR operation and septoplasty. Okay, you can go through the videos that are present on the internet. यूट्यूब पे रहेंगे सब वीडियोस एसएमआर का और सेप्टोप्लास्टी का, तो you just go through those videos. Okay, how it is done. Okay, any difficulty? Okay, repetition, shall I repeat once more, or no, there is no difficulty? No difficulty, na? O- Okay, chalega. And just go through once the anatomy of nose also. Okay. Chalo, then I will end the lecture. Okay. Chalo, bye.